Minister, just a few issues, right? Respite, I know when you came into office you had indicated that they were going to establish 9 additional respite centres, so I'm just wondering, are they all operational? Can you give us an update on that? And just, like I was recently talking to someone and they were saying that 83 plus families were denied respite for a period of 4 years because of 2 back-to-back emergencies being left in the respite centre. So can we have a system where that isn't happening? And I know it didn't just happen in this one centre, but it means that over 80 families in this case were affected adversely. Section 39s and pay parity, have we any update on that, or how will it be addressed? Because we're talking about day service and increasing the number of days, and that's needed. But many of our organisations can't recruit or retain staff because of the pay parity and indeed multi-annual funding, so that both need to be addressed. You indicated before that there would be a register for DPOs drawn up. I'm just wondering if there's an update on that and what stage that is at. Also, housing for people with intellectual disabilities. I feel they're often the forgotten ones, in that many times people age, they've no choice in where they live, they're living with aged parents, it's putting a lot of strain on them. And then younger people being put into nursing homes again because of lack of availability of either accessible housing or supported living. There's a report in one of today's papers that 32 a month are still going into nursing homes. That's 1 a day. So, that's not fair, that's not choice, and that's in contravention of the UNCRPD. And just the last thing, because I know I'm saying a lot here, the CDNTs, there's still huge issues with those. Just even talking to people in my own constituency there, they can't get the supports they require from the CDNT. One parent was looking for psychology for her son because he's displaying behavioural issues, and they referred him for a cognitive assessment. He didn't need a cognitive assessment. She said, look, they failed of it because it might help them get in a school place, but she needs support and she's had none, and she's at breaking point, and she's not the only one. There are many of them. So I'm just saying, you're talking about assistant posts there, but I mean the therapists need to be in the CDNTs, and they're not. They're leaving, they're going into private practice, and then they're being paid substantial sums of money to do assessments outside of the CDNTs, and it just, to me, it's just a wrong system. The system is broken, so I just wonder what can be done to address that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Deputy Tully, for your questions there. I suppose we'll start with the respite, and your question was in relation to respites. I made commitments there. So yesterday I did publish the 15 million respite investment plan. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you'll see clearly how the 15 million is being spent across the whole 9 CHOs. And in your own area, CHO1, 1.6 million has been allocated this year, which will be more in the full year. The 15 million is what was allocated this year in a full year cost. That 15 will be 25 million, and there is going to be the building there's a number of buildings in your constituency and across CHO1 that was needed. There is also the piece there as well, Deputy, in relation to respite. It's not just respite. As we all would know in the conventional piece as well, there's the piece there in relation to the after schools piece or the alternative respite piece, and there is also the piece as well where we have existing services, not so much in the Cavan Monaghan area, I want to acknowledge, not so much. That's why we have the investment that's going in there to build a respite in each side as well as residential, that actually where we would have 4 over 7 nights or 5 over 7 nights, that they would go full tilt. We already have the buildings there, we don't need to build, and they're built into those packages. So that was announced. It's not, I explained it, it's not re-announcing or anything else like that. That's what was got in last year's budget. I think it's important to set out the stall that people know what's going in already. In relation to the Section 39s, the progress has been made, and there are a number of issues to be resolved in relation to the funding stream, and staff will be covered within the scope of an agreement, and the talks are paused to allow the parties to review their positions with a view to developing solutions and sticking points, and the communication between the departments and the unions is ongoing. I suppose it's important to say that last year when that talks took place this time last year, there was a key wording put into that talks, and it was a line 2. so that the Section 39s could align to. But unfortunately, and as you and everybody else knows here in the room, that when the talks took place, there was a focus on this 8.5% and 9.5%. Our healthcare assistants, it was multiples of that, and I do think that between the department and the unions, that talks needs to focus on the healthcare assistant as well as getting the gap for the clinicians. So in relation to the under 65s in nursing home, so I don't know, I'd be interested on where you got your figure in relation to the increase of the figure you're saying of one. All right. So as of May 2024, there are 1,242 residents under the age of 65 in nursing homes, of which 85% are over the age of 50 years of age. Funding has been provided to support 81 move to transition to homes of their choosing within the community. 340 residents will continue their nursing home placement due to their current personal will and preference, or due to their assessment and their needs requirement. And 44 people have received enhanced quality of life supports while continuing their placement in nursing homes while transition planning is ongoing. So that is exactly the figure that I have as of May in relation to it. But investment will continue. 81 has been funded. So it's not just taking the person out, it's to ensure that actually the home is adapted for, or whatever is the choice to do with housing in relation to it. So there's a few steps in transitioning people out. Housing part is one part of it. It's the care package that will also go with it. But there is ongoing work on relation to that. When we started off first on a yearly basis, we were only able to do something like 18 in the first year of the budget, and we're now at 81, trying to get through it, and that's increasing up all of the time. In relation to the CDNTs, absolutely, there's still considerable pressure on our CDNT teams, and we have the funding of 720 posts that are there. We ran the recruitment campaign. You are right, there's a lot not choosing to come and work on CDNT teams, that there is no denying on it whatsoever, but we actually have the funding ring fence to ensure that we can still attract from abroad, attract the crew that are fourth-year students at this moment in time. And at the same time, we're looking at the apprenticeship model, where we have seen very well in social care how the apprenticeship model within social care is a really good model, and looking to see what other models that we can do. We have a workforce planning and steering group working on that, where it's not just the Department of the CD that's on the workforce planning group, it's also DFERIS, it is health, it is all our stakeholders, it's the HSE, it is Kuro, everybody talking as to actually how can we drive it. But what is really interesting this year, and which is fantastic to see, that we have a 33% increase, be it for this September and the following September, in our college placements on OTs, physio, speech and language and dietetics. And at the same time, we are also the assistant therapist posts, looking to do that as an apprenticeship model.
So I think everyone across government is committed to the principle of nothing about us without us, and the fulfilment of our obligations under Article 4.3 of the UNCRPD, which is obviously sets out the role of DPOs. Under the next National Disability Strategy, that's one of the things we're looking at. We're seeking to co-design with stakeholders, with DPOs in particular, the appropriate structures for the development, implementation and monitoring of policy, including the next National Disability Strategy and where that sits in the broader policy landscape. We're working to build on learnings from the Disability and Participation and Consultation Network, which was reviewed by the National Disability Authority last year as part of that work. And crucial to that is the issue of capacity building within DPOs to ensure that that consultation is effective and the DPOs are resourced to interact meaningfully with the state. On the issue of a register in particular, any register of DPOs would obviously require careful consultation with stakeholders as to the criteria appropriate for that mechanism. And the precise mechanisms of this work are being worked out at the moment in consultation with DPOs as part of the building blocks for the next National Disability Strategy.